Let's take another look at all things binge-worthy. Once again, Mr. Binge TV Guru is going to give us a list to discuss. You can catch him here on Al in the Afternoon and on Binge-worthy TV Guru on Facebook.
Love having the Binge back. We missed him for a week, but we've got him back and finishing up the Ed Sullivan Show. Started with comedians that kind of made their start on the Ed Sullivan Show. Funny as all get out. You came up, Binge, with this great idea of rock and rollers that are musicians that were on. And I thought, man, that's too old for me. I would not remember these guys, but all of them. It is amazing who went through the Ed Sullivan Show. Thanks for coming back.
Glad to be back. And you know, one thing I noticed, Al, on this list, there were bands that I never heard of when they were on Ed Sullivan that I became fans of. You know, that we listened to people we liked, but there was a lot of them that we didn't know that we became familiar with. And of course, they were huge. We just didn't know it.
Yeah, exactly. Ed, again, I thought his personality was strange for an entertainer. It was interesting to me. Not very dynamic. He's not a late night guy that you would have today, but you had to get on his show if you're going to get famous, and people did.
It was undoubtedly the biggest show for this type of entertainment in the world at the time.
Let's kickstart it. Here's the last one. Everybody will know these guys.
1, 2, 3. I love kung fu close away, and the way the sunlight plays upon her head.
Obviously, the Beach Boys, but I'm telling you what, that just the way they're dressed and stuff, that is early Beach Boys stuff.
That is, and you know, this took a turn on Ed Sullivan because it was so mod and cool and hip. It came out, I think, in '66. And it was a different look than they were doing when the Beatles were on or Elvis was on with the backgrounds, and sound was a little bit better. It was an outstanding performance, and I do remember this.
Yeah. Oh, and when it first popped up, you see that they're wearing these kind of tuxedo jackets and stuff. You remember that they took that as one classy opportunity to be an Ed Sullivan Show, and they classed it up. It wasn't weird stuff. It was really class act.
Absolutely, very, very entertaining. Of course, the Beach Boys and who was the other one? There was only the Four Seasons were the only two bands that really withheld the British invasion. There's only two that were on top as much as people from Britain. So it's awesome.
Good for them. Our next group, love these guys as well, and it makes sense for me they started with that.
It was Arthur Worsley of England, now for all of the youngsters of the country, the Everly Brothers with their new hit.
They look 12 years old.
They do. And this was 1958 when they were on. And of course, they were outstanding. I don't know where they were in their career at this time. I do know for a long time when they performed together, they didn't speak to each other.
Yeah. You know, I had read that somewhere as well, that they just did not get along at all, but yet they sounded so good together. I don't know who their manager was, but to keep that couple together for a while was a great move. They made a huge cash.
They were definitely a great combo and always, always great. And when they were on Ed, he loved having them on because this was Ed's kind of music. And he stated so, that this was stuff he liked. Some of the later rock and roll stuff, Ed didn't like at all, but he knew they were big and he had them on because of that.
Well, it's interesting that it's interesting you say that because I this next artist, Local Boy, done well. I wonder what he thought of him because he was just different enough, but he was fantastic.
Record polls on both sides of the Atlantic have been all turned up here because a fellow out of Odessa, Texas, Roy Orbison, is leading the list with his number. So here is the spectacled #1 king, Roy Orbison. Let's have a nice welcome to Texas.
What do you think he thought of Roy Orbison?
That's a good question.
Early rock and roll.
He was definitely his own style and a different kind of voice than anybody else out there. I can't believe that anybody could listen to Roy Orbison and not think he was awesome. He was great at what he did. Whether Ed liked him or not, God only knows, but he was awesome. And you know what? He was on the show, I think I read 5 times. So
Oh, wow.
they must have saw him as a talent to bring back. So he
You
was
bet.
great.
Do you? I'm going running through my RS on this. Do you have one you care to have me bring up?
Yeah, put on number 16.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let me do this. Make sure I don't. Yep.
Don't hate the black. Don't hate the black. Don't hate the white. If you get bitten, just hate the bite.
Different strokes for different folks. We got to live together. I am everything
Sly and the Family Stone, and what I get about that, and I find interesting, is the politics behind it. To start that out like that, he does the introduction, then all of a sudden you get this, don't hate the black, don't hate the white. We all got to live together. I wonder what he thought about that as well.
Yeah, and I do know when Sly finished this routine, he said publicly, thank you for letting us be ourselves to Ed Sullivan. So he must have felt like they let him do what he wanted to do. And they were unbelievable. And this is the prime example of what I'm talking about. I never heard of these people before. I saw this in 1968 on Ed Sullivan, and I was like, wow, these guys are awesome. I'd never heard that kind of music before. And it made me a fan right then. Of course, they didn't survive very long because of drugs, alcohol, and lifestyle as far as a group. But they were outstanding and totally different for a small town Midwestern kid to hear.
What I find interesting, like you say, he was allowed to do that. Ed had to have changed a bit, because didn't you tell us last time, a couple weeks ago, that some of these bands came on and they asked them to change the lyrics to fix some of that up so it wasn't quite as controversial, and they let Sly do what he wanted?
Oh, absolutely. He did that with the Doors. He did that with the Rolling Stones. He didn't like how the Rolling Stones dressed. He wanted to put suits on. It changed immensely. I think Ed finally realized, just let them roll, because they're going to get the ratings that he wanted, and they did.
But again, as far as hearing these introductions, he's horrible. Just horrible.
Every time, it's just horrible. And some of the comedians in particular, I've heard interviews with that said, he even said their name wrong. He didn't even get their name right whenever he introduced them. Not all of them, but a percentage of them. He was just awful, but he was still the place to go.
Well, and again, and he made his money. He had somebody who found this talent for him and put him on the program. Let's go to break early here, Mr. Binge. When we come back, we have lots more to discuss. It's Louis Binge, Mr. Binge, TV Guru, on Al in the Afternoon. Two minutes, my boy.
Okay, buddy.
How's your mom doing? How's the family?
Doing good. Doing
Okay.
good. We're getting ready. My daughter's getting married,
Yeah.
so we got to get all that situated and the finances, and
Yeah.
it's a big
As far as
deal.
when my son got married, I just told that to stay as far out of the way as possible, buddy.
Oh
Let them-
God, isn't that the truth? Just get out of the way. Let them roll.
Yep. Yep. Just
So,
write
that'll
checks
be
and be
fun.
done. All right.
It'll be fun.
Good. And when is the date for that?
May 21st or
Oh, wow.
23rd.
All
Somewhere
right.
in
Well,
there.
let's hope the weather hangs.
That's a definite issue. And you guys will be invited. So
I'm excited about that. It'll be a lot
sure
of
and
fun.
come. We got
Okay.
live music and
Not Gomsrud Park, Hans Park, right?
Hans Park. You bet.
Oh, that'll be fantastic. You bet.
Yeah.
Good.
It's going to be a fun deal. We're looking forward to it.
All right. 1 minute.
You're crazy.
Stop talking to the radio. Call Al in the afternoon. 507-497-2777.
Mr. Binge, TV guru with a great list. The Ed Sullivan Show, rock and roll bands that premiered there were on the Ed Sullivan Show. And some of these just time-wise strike me as interesting. They were on the Ed Sullivan Show, but he was on for quite some time. Mr. Binge, one of my favorites of all time was on the band.
Awesome.
Present James Brown on our stage.
Oh, yeah.
Let's have a fine welcome for a very fine talent.
Papa's a nurse, wife. He ain't do him now. But that you breathe.
James Brown. I love that guy. I just love the fact that he was doing all the shaking and stuff on that program. He is fantastic.
Well, no one was ever more perfect for television than James Brown. What a performer. I mean, he was like Michael Jackson of the day. I mean, he could move. And I do know I read a couple of these, and he was one of them. Ed loved this guy. He thought he was a performer and a half, and he loved to have him on. So I thought that was pretty cool.
You got another favorite you want me to throw on here? We're going to run out of time.
Another one, Ed's favorites, put on number 13. Ed had these guys on numerous times, and I heard them on Ed, and I thought, wow, these guys are talented. Number 13.
All right, we will get to there. I'm just stalling for the 2 minutes so I can skip the commercial interruption.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Another great one. Another group. Again, I would not have suspected started there, but here they are.
Here singing their number one record, Reach Out, I'll Be There, are the Four Tops.
The Four Tops, fantastic, just a fantastic group. I'll bet you Ed liked them a lot.
Ed loved them, according to what I heard, that he absolutely loved them, and he had them on all the time. And they were another group that I was not familiar with in 1968. That in fact, most of these Motown groups that he had on, I wasn't that familiar with until I heard him on Ed Sullivan, and it made a fan out of me and probably millions of kids.
I want to say that I remember this next artist literally on the Ed Sullivan Show because it made my dad so happy. He's like, I can't believe she, and I remember that having the conversation. I'm like, what's so special about her? And here she is.
You know, the carrying on the family tradition.
Oh, Lordy.
Nancy Sinatra has unbelievably, because it happened just once, not very many times in a career, Nancy Sinatra has come up with the number one record in the country. And I'm going to ask her to sing it not only for me, but for her father and Jilly are down in Miami Beach tonight. And the number is These Boots Are Made for Walking. She has a golden record because she sold over 1 million copies of this. Let's have a wonderful welcome for
You keep saying you got something for me, something you call love, but confess, you've been a messing where you shouldn't have been a messing, and now someone else is getting all your best, and these boots are made for walking.
These boots are made for walking. Seriously, I don't know why. And maybe it's just I put that memory in my own head. I don't know, but I remember that song on the Ed Sullivan Show. I remember my dad stopping.
It was absolutely caught in a time warp of 1968. That song represents that period more than almost any song on this list. For being stuck in that time period. You could not release that song today and have those moves and not think it's 1968 all over again. his introduction says how much he loved Frank, I think,
Yeah.
more than Nancy.
And his wife, he's like playing I know these guys. They're personal. They're down in Miami Beach, Jillian, Frank, you know.
Exactly. That's what I thought too. But she did a good job with this song. I was not one of her biggest fans, but this is a fun song.
Yeah,
This was a fun
absolutely.
song.
I only have time for one more. I have one I'd like to play. Do you have one you want to absolutely get in, or can I do
No,
this?
no, play yours, and if we have time, we'll do one more.
All right, here's my unbelievable favorite, because literally the band plays this at our football games.
Oh,
This
yeah,
song has been
I
around
love
this
it.
long, is on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Here is Neil Diamond.
Where it began, I can't begin to know it.
We'll jump out of it right away because I want to get to yours as well. But literally, that's on the Ed Sullivan Show, and our high school band is playing Sweet Caroline at football games, so everybody can sing along with it. That song has been huge forever.
Forever. And I don't know what year this was. I'm assuming it'd be early 70s or late 60s. But you're right. This song is held up and could be, in my opinion, could be made today. It's still so darn good.
Oh yeah, that's even if it was the 70s. You're talking 50 years ago that was playing, and they're playing it at my high school football game. You know, I love it. That was one of my favorite songs of all time.
A great song, indeed.
What will we use for our last song then? Got a number for me?
Let's go to number, hold on, give me 1 second. Number, where's it at? Go to number 30. And I got a reason. Not
All right.
necessarily my favorite, but number 30.
Oh, all right, here we go. Gonna have to solve these. 5 seconds to get through this. This is our last song in this category. You can catch it on Mr. Binge TV Guru, the author's Facebook page.
One day the sun broke. Turned around, she was gone. And all I had left was one little flower in my hand. But I knew she could make me happy. She could make me very happy.
The Cow Sills. I hope you have a good reason why you just went from
I think
my
I do.
favorite song
One
of all
reason,
time, Nancy
not
Sinatra.
my favorite group at all. However, I think the story is so interesting that they were the Partridge Family was patterned after them because they were a family, and they were the first selection to be the Partridge Family.
Oh,
But they didn't utilize them because they felt they were getting too old already. So they ended up with the actors who played the Partridge Family. But the Cowsills would have been the ones that were the Partridge Family if the producers would have had their way.
I had no idea on that. Okay, that was worth going into the Cowsills. I'm the Cowsills. What are we doing? All right, but we played the Cowsills. That is a great story. Again, for those of my age, Brady Bunch Partridge Family, had to watch them back to back at whatever channel that was. That's what you watch when you got home from school. And you can see the resemblance, what they're doing. The little girl playing the tambourine, wow.
The Partridge Family was the Cowsills. I mean, it was the story of the Cowsills because their mother was in the band and the whole bit, just like the Partridge Family. But again, they felt they were getting too old, so they opted to use actors.
You know, that kind of feels like my life. I'm just too old to be me. For some reason, I feel too old in my own body. All right, Mr. Binge, what a great list. I really did appreciate this. Is rock solid. Thank you for putting it together. Folks can find it at Mr. Binge, TV Guru, or on Al in the Afternoon here. Do you have ideas and inkling for our next bit, or do you not want to give it up?
I am still pondering a couple of options. I do have a couple good ones. I suggest people tune in next Tuesday at 5:35 and find out what we're going to do.
I can't wait to do it. And again, if you want to find the perfect page for any entertainment, you having folks over, go to Mr. Binge TV Guru. You will see massive amounts of lists like the rock and roll one we did, like the comedians on there. And you're back to listing all your favorite bingeable TV shows. Have you got one you're binging as we speak, sir?
Yes. I'm still trying to finish up. You and I talked about Lost. Even though it's been around for a while, I never saw Lost, and I loved it. It's getting a little bit weirder as I'm progressing, and I don't know how much longer I'll last in it, but it's still holding my interest. But some of the ones, especially as you know, British films and TV shows, of the last 20 years. There's 60 or 70 of them I recommend on there. So yes, it's fun to be back and watching and binging a lot. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Binge, I got to fly. Get you next Tuesday, my friend.
Thank you much. Bye-bye.
Mr. Binge, TV Guru on Al in the afternoon. Well worth it, Binge. Well worth it.
I think that turned out okay.